Welcome in to Circa Las Vegas, the beautiful sports book that we're out here in. They're presenting the PHNX Suns road trip here at Vegas Summer League on Maspo. That is Flex, that is Saul, that is Gerald. And Gerald and Flex, it's time to pay the piper. Because yesterday you told everybody if they got to 100 likes before the end of the show, Gerald, you'd do a double shot, and Flex was going to partake in a single shot.
There's your double there, Gerald.
Thank you very much. Thank you kindly.
For the audio listeners, Saul has just passed over the double shot of Hennessy in a beautiful Circa cup. Gerald, proceed.
There's real pain behind these eyes, let me tell you.
Chug, 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 chug.
Ooh, God,
and
that
he
hurts
finished
my
it.
soul right
It's
there.
Flex's turn here.
Oh, boy, Flex.
Look,
Ooh, gone off the Henny.
Honestly, I don't know what's more exciting, the giant screens of soccer in front of me or the shots being taken right now. Actually, I do. It's the shots being taken.
This is kind of a breaking news right here because we don't. Flex doesn't drink.
Good luck, brother. That looks like a big shot.
Hey, man, this for the fan base. PHNX stand up, baby.
Let's go.
Got it.
Get it.
now I can
There
give
we
you
go,
Flex's
Flex.
analysis. You know what, dog? I like the taste of that. I like everything that I saw from it. I think you did that pristine. It was just, it was amazing.
Potential?
You have potential.
Do I have to fix the elbow on the shot?
Yeah,
The
look,
form was good.
Look, I am a little concerned about your shots still, but I think the first one went down smooth.
Okay.
So we'll be all right.
All right.
Nice
All
job.
right.
Nice job.
All right, guys, let's get into what we're actually here to talk about. USA Soccer. Let's talk about Phoenix Suns Game 1 of Summer League in the books last night, a 90-73 loss to the Golden State Warriors. Let me sum it up. Nobody cares when you lose in Summer League. That's not what you're here for. It's all about the development of young guys, obviously. Ryan Dunn, Oso Ighodaro, the big things. But what are the initial takeaways from Game 1 of Summer League? Gerald, why don't we start with you?
Yeah, I think people are going to look at the box score and be like, well, Oso and Ryan Dunn didn't really do much. They didn't score much. They didn't shoot the ball well. And I think it's one of those things where this is not the environment for that, especially with their particular skill set. So I was impressed with what I saw from Dunn defensively. I think there were flashes from Oso as well. And I think we just saw, like, the Warriors have two legit NBA players. Like, Brandon Pajemski has no business being out in an NBA Summer League game, which felt unfair. And they had more continuity. This Suns Summer League team, it's a lot of guys from different places. We kind of saw that. And it's kind of funny, though, because the Phoenix Suns once again need a point guard, and it's for their Summer League team.
Well, you buried the lead, too. Golden State's been playing together for a week and already won a Summer League. These guys got thrown together, 3-4 days ago? So there's that as well.
It's exactly what we thought. You know, like their strengths were highlighted, and you could see why the Suns liked their strengths. Their weaknesses were also highlighted, and you could see what concern there is going to be for these guys. Ryan Dunn's shot mechanically looks really solid, but he couldn't hit any of them, and so that's going to be a little bit problematic. But you're hoping that development's going to come in. Defensively, I loved what I saw from him, and also Oso, but. Man, Ryan Dunn defensively, this is the reason why the Suns loved him so much. His ability to fight through screens, his anticipation skills, his help side defense, everything was as advertised. So as long as he can find some ways to be able to score at a respectable rate, he's going to be fine. And Oso, in person, Oso is far more impressive physically than I expected when I saw him. He just athletically, he matches exactly what you want from him. He can jump, he's strong, he's athletic, he can handle the ball. He brought the ball up as kind of a point center multiple times. You loved what you saw from there. The biggest thing that you're really concerned about is just that shot. Man, it is not pretty, and I don't know where you go in terms of development for that, but everything else You really listen. If he had a jump shot, he'd have been a top 10 pick.
Well, I wanted to say that.
That's how good he is.
Yeah, I wanted to say that. This is how you get Ryan Dunn at 28 and how you get Oso at 40. If those issues we're talking about were cleaned up, these are probably 2 lottery picks. Yeah. Maybe, right? So listen, with Ryan Dunn, everything I anticipated in regards to his strengths, he stamped it. Yeah. I'm 100% certain this guy's a defensive demon that can guard damn near every position, point of attack, very high IQ. As far as Oso, being able to bring up the ball, some of the stuff off the ball, the leadership qualities, the constant communication, the gathering of the group, he shows he's a leader. His playmaking ability is impressive. His ability to handle the ball, his ability to see the court, diagnose things, be in the right spot. Love all that. Yeah, they got to throw the rock in the ocean. Yeah. That'll come. I'll go back to a quote that Jared Dudley said a week ago. He said, we're going to see guys in Summer League that are going to score 30 and never play an NBA game. And we're going to see guys that score 4 points and will have 10-year careers with a role on an NBA team. So the platform and the stage is a little different. You got guys out there auditioning and fighting for their lives. It's a little hard for Oso and Dunn to be utilized the way I think they want to be utilized when you got guys trying to go out there and get jobs. So I was okay. Optimus Flex is here. Yeah. We're okay. I like what I saw from these guys. We'll build on it as we go.
For me, it's simple, right? We need the big 3 of Oso, Dunn, and Bridges to have at least 60 games together before we can judge them here at Summer League, right? Right?
Let's go. That's low.
Right? I mean, that's the only way we can judge them.
I do think, though, Flex, to your point, like, there's a lot that when we look at Summer League, again, we're going to look at box scores. A lot of people do that. But I think
you look at a box score for Summer League, you're just
but they
you don't get
they
it.
do
No,
because
I know.
were like,
but it's just,
you're looking at shooting numbers, you're looking at all that, and I get it to a certain extent. But Vince Lagarza actually did talk about this after the game in terms of these rookie-specific skill sets maybe not being, they're not going to stand out at Summer League. Here's what he had to say.
Yeah, no, I think the best thing for our guys, specifically Ryan and Oso being rookies, this is just an opportunity to get better. They're here. They're getting their feet wet with stuff. I think Oso is someone that's going to be a real connector for our team that can play with other players at a high level. And Ryan's a guy that's going to come in and be able to guard. And sometimes those things aren't valued or seen in Summer League, but are really important in Summer League and during the regular season.
Yeah, I think that's a huge thing, right? You got to take into consideration is the little things aren't as important in Summer League. And what gets noticed is, at least from a fan perspective, is the guys that go out there and try to score in bunches, especially in a game 1 where you have limited playing time, and I think you saw that in this game. It was a lot of guys that were trying to prove themselves, trying to score the bucket, trying to score the rock early in this game. Not a lot of system ball here in Summer League.
Again, like if you understand what Summer League's intended purpose is, then you're not freaking out at a box score. You have to look at these guys and think about, okay, how do they project onto your team? Yeah. And in what ways are they being able to showcase those skills that they can translate to the next level? Exactly. And when we were watching these guys yesterday, defense was not a problem. Like, we loved what we saw on defense, and actually Podziemski had struggled when Dunn was there at the beginning of the game. Could not get around him, could not get by him. Dunn was doing a fantastic job fighting over screens. Sorry, this is obviously the soccer game's going on. It's pretty crazy, but I loved that part. But again, it was about the other things, and because there was too many times where Dunn was open, couldn't get the ball because Witherspoon had his head down and was tunnel vision and going to the basket to try and get his. Right. That's going to change a little bit as you get to the next level. Yeah. Either KD, Devin Booker, or Bradley Beal will be in place of Witherspoon trying to get the bucket, or they're going to find him in the corner for the wide open shot. So you like that. And then Oso, I will say this, man, I don't want to harp too much on the shot because I know that is a little bit problematic. But everything else that he brought to the table, I just really, really loved. I really liked the fact that he's agile, he's quick, He can bring the ball up the floor with no problem. It looks fluid. It looks easy. That's what you want to see from him. And, hell, to get to the NBA, like Flex and I were talking about earlier, to get to the NBA with that shot, with all the other skill sets, is the reason why he's in the NBA. Is because of all those other skill sets.
Right, and there are rim running bigs in the NBA that can't shoot. Like we have 2 of them, honestly, already ahead of them. So there is an archetype for that, and we saw that one dunk that he had baseline, the athleticism, the finishing ability there. So that's encouraging. But it's not even just about box score watching for me. It's like people expect good players to go out in Summer League and dominate. It's more of a red flag for me if players go out and just suck, and neither one of these guys suck. They showed the skill set that you want them to show in the context of the Suns, and so we actually got a hold of Mike Budenholzer at halftime, and we were able to ask him about, how rookies look in Summer League, and this is kind of what he had to say.
I'm excited about Ryan and Oso, everything they've done since we've drafted them, everything they did in the draft process, so to get them in the program and work with them and watch them grow and develop, we couldn't be more excited about their future.
Yeah, I think that there's reason to be excited after that game.
The only cause for concern I would have had is if the things that they were good at, they didn't really look good.
Right.
And they struggled, and you're like, wait, did they get this wrong in that regard? But they didn't.
Yeah.
Like, everything that they said they were good at, they were good at. I'm happy with that. Now it's about development moving forward. And I hope that this organization has kind of rectified some of those issues in terms of development to get the most out of these players as we move forward, because there's some small little tweaks. We talked about Ryan Dunn's shot. There's a couple little things that he could tweak that I think will make him a better shooter overall. So you're hoping that that's going to come to fruition. And with Oso, I just think it's time and development, and then obviously get in that lab and just working on that shot.
Yeah, we'll get into specifically Ryan Dunn in his first game, but want to take a second to shout out Leo, Marco, Amelia, Chantel, Daniel, Ashley, who's watching us at 5 a.m. in Australia on Monday morning from the future. We appreciate you. Erica in the chat, as well as Ted and Marco. Thanks so much for being here.
I'd like to give a shout out to my man Nolan from yesterday. Nolan comes out here for Summer League. He's been traveling to go see the Suns all over the country. He was really cool. He came up to us. So shout out to Nolan. Thank you for hanging out with us yesterday at Summer League.
We met Jose at Summer League yesterday. A couple people came up to us, said they were fans of the show. That that just warms our hearts and reminds us why we do this. So thank you guys. That was really cool.
I turned to Gerald and I said, this is exactly why we do it, so we get recognized on a concourse at an arena. It's good for the ego. So,
I told him you were so close to a heartfelt moment, and then you just steered clear.
Obviously, Ryan Dunn has been playing basketball for a moment like yesterday for a long time. His first taste of professional basketball, obviously not the league, but he said that it was an exciting experience, but some nerves for sure.
I loved it. I'm not gonna lie, the first half, pounding jitters. You saw I was slipping the ball, turnovers, but I think I settled down a little bit in the second half. Just took some shots I needed to take. Defensively, I feel like I did pretty well, hold my own. So the big thing for me is find the positives in everything. Don't try to be hard on yourself. I feel like I did a lot at my younger age. So just being positive, whatever I can do, and just work on whatever I can for the next couple games. Have a day off, so get to watch the film and see what we can do next.
I love Ryan Dunn. He's going to be a pain to transcribe because he's just so excited and he talks so fast.
Such first world problems from the beat writer over here.
It is, but I'm touching on it because he was talking about his heart pounding, and you could sense it when he was talking about it just because of how fast he was getting his words out. He was legitimately excited, and I think that's one of the things that the Suns love about him from the people that I've talked to is just his genuine passion and excitement and devotion to the game. We saw it in that clip that the Suns social posted where he's like, thank you, I'm going to live in the gym. It was so sincere, and that's good to see because as much as we're going to talk about the jump shot and the offensive concerns, defensively, that dude plays with passion. He plays with fire. He has a long-ass 7'1" wingspan, which doesn't hurt. When they played him at the top of the zone, that whole section of the fucking court was shut down.
It was nuts. You saw that.
Done. No pun intended.
You intended that one.
You saw him disrupt the pick and roll. You saw him play defense from 90 feet at certain times in this game. That part, there was no doubt it came as advertised. And I get it. You're still playing in Summer League, but defense is something in those moments that you look at and you go, okay, that translates. I don't care if it's a star standing up there or these guys.
Who did I say he reminded me of?
Scotty.
3 minutes in. Yeah.
Scotty.
I mean, the way he moved, his physical abilities, his length, I just was like, holy crap.
Yeah.
It looks just like him.
It looks like him. You nailed it. The things that they said he was good at, he stamped.
Yeah.
Emphatically.
Yeah.
Man-to-man, 94 feet, in the pick and roll, in the zone defense, help defense, weak side defense. I mean, I believe this guy is one of the rare basketball players that you see come around every now and then that actually just loves defense.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you could just tell. And that's why I think, you know, when you look at this Suns team and you say, what do they need? What were they trying to accomplish in this draft? What were they trying to accomplish this offseason? It was to fill gaps. And in a sense, they hit a home run in regards to filling gaps with a guy like Ryan Dunn and Oso because of the playmaking.
Yeah.
I watched Oso. We were watching Oso warm up.
Yeah.
And he's going sideline to sideline. And he's sitting here putting dribble, you know, point combos and packages that look like a 6'2" point guard. And you just can't teach that, and I know that's going to translate. And this is the type of stuff that'll keep you in the league for 8 to 10 years.
Right.
So I'm happy to see it.
Dunn's defense, there was a moment in the second half. I don't know. It wasn't really a block because they called it a jump ball, but it was a hell of a defensive play.
Right in front of where we were sitting.
And then he came over, like, he went to the baseline, and he's screaming. The first guy to get over there is Oso. Like, you can tell how passionate he is about the defensive side of that game. And that was probably the highlight for me, was because that was where you went, okay, yeah, this kid loves this side of the game and is putting in the effort and has the passion.
Yeah.
And there's a chemistry with him and Oso on it, but I loved seeing that.
And if you want to, box score watch, like 3 steals, 2 blocks, defensively, everything that you want to see out of a box score and better, especially with the defense on Podziemski. But obviously the offensive end is what we're going to talk about with him. 0 for 3 from 3. Saul, you touched on it a little bit. They look good, but that only gets you so far until they start to fall. But we did ask Ryan Dunn about continuing to take threes and getting those reps. This is what he had to say.
Yeah, obviously, just taking the shots I need to take, off the three, make or miss, continue to shooting. I think I shot it pretty well today. Even though it didn't go in, my shots felt good. So just keep shooting them now, off the ball, catch and shoot whenever I'm open or contested, but also making the right plays. Don't try to be shot heavy, but, keep doing what I was doing, but keep being aggressive that way. It's getting reps. It's the same thing that everyone's been telling me to do, just continue to get reps. So, I got a lot of reps in the pre-draft, got a lot of reps in the draft, got a lot of reps in practice. I'm now in game in Summer League right now. Just keep getting them up. If I don't hit one, I'm going to keep shooting them. Also make the right play as much as I can. Yeah,
he was 0 for 3. I'd like to see him get up a few more in game 2 where we can see, okay, I want to see 4, 5, 6 in the next few games from him just to see what it looks like and if he can get any kind of rhythm. It was a little all over the place offensively in general with this team in game 1. Mechanically seems sound, but I'm going to be concerned until I see it.
The game was herky-jerky on the Suns' end. There was no flow, and you could see the distinct difference between the Warriors and the Suns in terms of offensive flow. Yeah. The Warriors pushed the ball to get the 3, right? And so guys were sprinting, getting to their spots, and as a player is penetrating, they know, okay, boom, 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 right? Whereas the Suns, it didn't feel like they had any rhyme or reason because they don't have good chemistry right now. They haven't been playing together, and they're trying to figure everybody else out. Everybody else has their own individual agenda in game 1, and so it's a little bit tough. So I'm not going to put a lot of stock into that. But yes, the consistent thing has always been good form, not good maker. And so can he improve that? I think he can over time. It's just logic tells you there's no way a guy with that nice of a form can be that bad for that long.
Right. I mean, they looked good yesterday. The first one that he took was right on line, just a little bit long off the back iron. The second one wasn't great, but the third one, it kind of just rimmed out. It looked good, lipped out. You can live with that, and I think they are confident, as much as we're going to continue to question it until we actually see the shots fall. It was one Summer League game. We talked about this yesterday, Flex. Don't overreact one way or another. If he goes 1 for 3, if he goes 3 for 3, if he goes 0 for 3, don't overreact. It's one Summer League game. But there was a question for Ryan Dunn or for Vince LaGarza, the coach of the Summer Suns, about Ryan Dunn's shooting and just his overall performance, is what he had to say.
Yeah, I thought his defense was great. I thought he competed. Again, his ability to change shots at the rim, his effort, and his competitiveness showed for his entire time out there. Shots look good. Shots are going to fall. Shots are not going to fall. He's working on it. We believe in him. So I was really pleased with how he played.
Look, I'm not gonna judge on one game performance, but if we leave Summer League and he's like 2 of 15, I'm gonna say the question remains and very loudly about the shooting. I think
it's gonna remain no matter what.
I agree.
Until we get to the regular season and he shows that he can hit it 3 out of every 10.
Here's what I don't want. If he's 2 for 15 and you say that, that's fine. But if he's 6 for 15 or 7 for 15, does it really matter?
Well,
hold on.
I would say you've seen it improvement, and you've seen him be able to do it in Summer League, and that's encouraging.
Yeah,
I think it's as simple as that. It's encouraging because we saw him do it in live action.
Right.
Now you obviously have to build on it. That would be my simple answer.
I love what LaGarza said.
Yeah.
I can mimic everything he said. I could not agree more.
Right.
He's going to take the shot. Some are going to go in, some aren't. We're working on it. It's a work in progress. We knew this coming in.
Yes.
We told y'all coming in.
Yes.
Like, it's going to take time.
Right.
But again, to Saul, Gerald's point, even yours, when you see him take it, my main thing is, how does it look? Because like you said, I've been around basketball long enough to know that a shot that looks like that, at some point in time, you're going to start converting on it. There was a real mechanical hitch or something,
right?
I'd be saying a whole different story. I'd say we got to rebuild the whole thing, and this is going to be a project that may take a while. Do not see that with this kid. I think he's just psychological and he needs reps.
But that's why I think it's important to see him have some success here from a psychological standpoint, because you get more confident, even though it's just Summer League action. If he shoots 35-40% in Summer League, in his head, he's, look, I did it against a potential NBA talent, and it builds. It starts to build.
What did Sean shoot as a rookie?
What?
Sean, what did he shoot as a rookie?
That was 18%.
18%, yeah. That worked out fine. That was a whole year. Forget Summer League.
Right. It's Summer League. He's 21. This is going to take time. We knew this coming in. It's fine if he, yes, it would be great for his confidence if he comes in, shoots, 35, 40%, whatever. But we knew this was going to take time. And again, not to use a Montyism, but reps were moved out.
Hey.
He took 0.8 threes a game at Virginia. Now he's going to be in a place where maybe he's taking 2 to 3 a game. That matters. But for what it's worth, when we did speak to Bud, he was very high on what Ryan Dunn brings to the table.
Yeah, obviously his ability to impact the game defensively, we think he's got a chance to be elite on that end of the court. And, I think his length and his athleticism, and then, growing into a two-way player, with his size, we think he could be somebody that's going to be good for us for a long time.
I think the only reason why anybody would logically freak out about Ryan Dunn's offensive abilities. You okay, bud?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. Motherfucker.
I'm good, baby. We're in Vegas.
Don't blow into the mic.
He's transforming into a dragon.
So it's just because we have a little bit of PTSD with Josh Okogie specifically in terms of his inability to hit three-point shots when they needed them most because teams were scheming to cover Book and KD, double them. And so I think that's the only cause for concern is because we've seen this movie before a little bit. Dunn's a different player. We're going to give him the opportunity to try and improve because Josh Okogie, honestly, form-wise, there's nothing really terrible with his shot. Right. He should be a better shooter than he is. Yeah. So we're hoping that history is not repeating itself. Again, time and development will tell. And I'm not really going to worry about Summer League. I don't really care if he doesn't make a single shot in Summer League. Once we get to the season, you got to prove it.
And that, to your point real quick, that is the part that's tough for Dunn because we're looking at this from the context of this coming year, if KD or Bradley Beal or Book gets doubled and he has an open three, can he knock it down? But within the context of this guy shot 20% from three in college, he's going to need more time. It's tough because he's in a situation where we're going to need it from him sooner than maybe his trajectory allows for.
But we always knew that that's the thing with this team. If you have draft picks, if you have young guys, there's not time to develop. It's learn on the job, and that's the way it's going to be for him. Shout out to Oso Blanco in the chat who says, Nuggets fan, but came here to say my new AI DJ feature on my Spotify sounds like Flex. That's pretty dope. I love that. I love that this person's probably watching the Nugget show also, which is like
right,
2.5 feet over here to our left. So they're over there. Look, we're going to take a quick break here, but when we get back, we're going to talk about how to look oh so sexy in Las Vegas. I'm learning how to do these transitions to these. It's a little different. But you know what's always different and in a good way? Circa Resorts and Casinos. We're here in their sports book right now on Fremont Street. I actually love the Fremont Street experience more than the Strip. I love being out here. This is a beautiful venue here, and then you never know what you're going to see out on Fremont Street. Oh, yeah.
At 4 o'clock in the morning, you're seeing kids walk around. You're like, what the fuck is happening out here?
And they're trying to sell you shit. You're
not at Circa.
No, out on Fremont Street. No,
Circa is the safe haven.
It's actually nice.
Circa,
is
nice.
21 and over.
Fuck
Nobody that is younger than 21 can get in. They check your ID before you walk in the building. It is beautiful. That's not all, though. We're going to go, I think at least a few of us are going to go out to Stadium Swim today. We got no game, and it is
we'll be out there
unbelievable.
Tomorrow, too.
We will. We'll be doing the show out there the next 2 days, but it seats 4,000 people in these pools. A 143-foot by 40-foot LED screen that you can watch any and all sporting events on that are going on. 6 pools, 2 spas. It's just insane. And the cabanas, which you'll see tomorrow on the program, are second to none. I love it out here at Circa, and I think you will as well. The rooms are spectacular, and you can experience it by coming out here and getting a room at Circa. Experience Stadium Swim and watch your favorite teams at Circa Resort and Casinos. And also, our friends over at Desert Financial Credit Union want to hook you up with $200. Imagine all the things you could do with $200. I'll give you guys a second. All right, it's lose it at the blackjack table, but
we'll get 3 sodas.
It's actually win. Shane did win. Shane's winning. Saul won 35.
Yeah,
Shane had one of the worst beats I've ever seen on a blackjack table.
He had 5 split sevens and lost on an 8-card 21.
That was crazy.
But you know how you can get that 200 back, Shane? You can sign up for a free checking account online with our friends over at Desert Financial Credit Union. They have been in the business of making your life better financially in Arizona for 84 years. They are financial experts that can help you start a business, get a loan to send your kids to college, get a new kitchen in your house, whatever you're looking to do.
For $200? Oh, yeah.
No, yeah. You could invest that $200 with them and then be able to do that as well, because they got savings accounts, mortgages, loans, credit cards, investment options, and so much more. So join a credit union that's committed to giving back to the community and sharing success with its members. And when you sign up for a free checking account online, like I said, you're getting $200 in bonuses. It's just that simple. Get started by visiting desertfinancial.com/200. All right, guys, we have talked about Ryan Dunn. The other big name out here, at least from a rookie perspective, is Oso Ighodaro. He had a stat line that was okay. He finished with 6 points and 5 rebounds. I think the highlight for everybody was that cut on the baseline for that massive dunk.
Yeah.
But what were your initial takeaways with Oso?
Again, this is going to change as we get to the season and the more comfortable the Suns get with his skill set. I would have liked to see him be put into positions to be able to play make a little bit more. I thought basically the only thing he did was bring the ball up and set the offense and then just kind of go about the way. I think there's going to be a lot of opportunities. Obviously, when you bring in the superstars that we have, for him to be a little bit more diverse and show off those skills, because I do believe that I just know that they're there. Like you can feel it, you can see it. And so, but when you have guys that, you don't know when they're going to make a backdoor cut, you don't know, can't anticipate a lot, it's tough. It's really tough. So that's the thing that I wish I would have been able to see a little bit yesterday, that I hope I get to see before Summer League ends, because I do think it's there. Outside of that, again, I thought he was solid. The offensive, ability to score the basket, especially when you're in the paint, It's got to be better. You got to score at a higher clip, and it can't look as, kind of haphazard as it did yesterday. There was a couple times it just didn't even look like it was close from 8 feet out. And so I'm sure it's going to shore itself up and clean up, but there's a lot of room to improve there on that side of the ball because he's got a long way to go on the scoring front.
Well, to your point, I feel like this Summer League roster is not going to be suited to, especially in terms of the finishing around the rim. Like, he went from Tyler Collect to some really questionable guard play yesterday.
Yeah.
And I do think the Warriors, they were switching a lot on defense, which kind of takes away the playmaking element for him. So I think hopefully the next matchup, we get a team that is not going to be switching as much, so maybe we can see more of that playmaking
But
side.
to that point, and this is where, Flex's optimism up in the upper deck when we were sitting kind of hit me a little bit because he was just like, just give us some time, just give us some time. And then sure enough, when they switched, he took advantage of the mismatch, and then he went low post and hit the nice little left floater. And I was like, okay, there's an example of him kind of improving as the game goes on and understanding what the Warriors are trying to do to him. That's the cerebralness that we really like out of him.
Right.
Well, and that dunk, that just the cut that he made, how ferocious the dunk was. I loved watching that. But the push shot, Flex. I think people will eventually fall in love with that little shot because I think he's going to hit it consistently.
We knew this, though.
If he push shots from 3 and makes it, then I'll be impressed.
Well, Flex said if he takes him in the gym, he can hit 35 out of 100 of those with that push shot. So
That's it.
Listen, I looked at this game. First of all, again, the playmaking I loved. The leadership, the talking, the communicating I loved. You saw the athleticism. You saw the potential to attack mismatches and score with both hands. Here's what I will say. And it was harder because, I didn't have the opportunity to go back into the room and watch the game over again. But I kind of was making mental notes on Dunn and Oso. And I counted up to about 7 between the two of them of plays that didn't get – the ball never got to them.
Yeah.
But with the big team, I think it will. There were some backdoor cuts. There were some positions where Oso got a good switch, had his guy sealed, or maybe set the screen, rolled out, and maybe could have got a lob that it just didn't materialize.
Yeah.
But when I'm looking at it, I'm saying, okay, how much different is that when you got the talent of Devin, Kevin, and Brad? How much does that gap open? How many times do they see Ryan on that back cut? And does that change anything? And I think it does. So I was pleasantly surprised by some of the actions. And then in my mind, I'm trying to say, I like to think that Devin at the elbow, when that second guy comes up and Ryan back cuts you in the corner, looks a lot like Mikal.
Yeah.
When we used to do it with the big team.
Right.
So, like I said, I counted about 7, and that to me is a stat. To me, I look at that as a stat, and I say, okay, that's an area of improvement that organically is just going to happen by playing with better players.
and that's Flexalytics for you.
And it's
Oso's a lob threat, too.
He is.
He's a lob threat. I did not expect to see that kind of athleticism out of him. I know on paper, but watching him at Marquette, I was just like, I don't know if I see that so much. In person, I was like, oh, yeah, no, it's there for sure.
No, and that's the thing, like LaGarza said off the top, his skill set might not look as good here, but when you put him with the players that the Suns have, that connecting piece might stand out a little bit more. For me, the biggest concern was mostly the rebounding. The Suns Summer League team struggled on the boards in general. But that's the one thing. We knew he wasn't a great rebounder. That's something that he'll need to improve over time if he wants to be out there as a small ball 5 as opposed to maybe a 4 with a rim protecting big.
Yeah, it wasn't just his fault, though.
It was everybody.
There was times where the Warriors had 3 guys at the rim and there wasn't a sun to be seen.
Yep.
I think Oso, as he adds a little bit to the body, that changes it too. A little easier to box out some NBA guys as well. But he seemed to have some pretty good positioning at times. Just didn't.
Yeah.
Didn't make it happen.
And again, going to practice with Big Nerd and Mason, you'll learn quick.
Yeah, you ain't going to have any afternoons off in the gym there. But Vince Lugaro talked about Oso's LaGarza.
I was like, we got a different video here.
Did you hit the hand too?
Take a shot at
No,
Vinny Burrow.
I was with Vince LaGarza out of the bars last night. Me and Vinny. Vince LaGarza on Oso's performance.
Yeah, I think, it's a good opportunity for him going against, Jackson Davis from the Warriors, a guy that's played a lot of rotational minutes. Again, the switching didn't let Oso probably create as much as we'd like, and then we tried to get the ball in his hands, some other stuff. I thought he did a good job defensively. They beat us up on the boards a little bit early, but that's on all 5 guys getting there and rebounding. So, overall, I thought Oso did a great job.
Okay, Ighodaro, LaGarza.
That's what happened.
I combined the 2 names.
Lagaro.
Lagaro.
That's what you
That's
did.
how we got. Hey, it's Lagaro. Hey,
Oso Ighodaro.
Oso, yeah.
Shout out to the great Al McCoy. When DA was a rookie, for like the first 30 games, he kept saying Leandro Ayton.
Oh,
Yeah. So he combined my boy Leandro Barbosa and DeAndre Ayton. You just did what the great Al McCoy did for a little bit.
Well, I mean, that's how I roll. Look, Vince can earn my respect when he wins a Summer League game, all right?
This fucking guy.
Oh, man.
Okay, we've talked about the things that we felt somewhat positive about.
sure.
Can we get to the elephant in the room? Can
Sure.
we get to
Yeah.
big body David Roddy, who
boy.
that was not a pretty performance for a guy that I still feel like is fighting for, at least on this squad, his NBA life. Sure, if you're just box score watching, you don't look at the actual facts behind it. You go, oh, 12 points, 7 rebounds, all right. And then you go 4 of 14 and 2 of 8 from 3. It was not a pretty night for David Roddy.
I'm okay with, the missed shots and stuff like that. I thought he was trying to force some things a little too much. And more importantly, the most egregious thing to me was he fell asleep way too many times on defense. 3 straight backdoor cuts for dunks. 2 of them on back-to-back plays. Like, you can't do that if you're a veteran in the NBA trying to make a roster. Like, that's inexcusable. And so, again, hey, we all have bad days, and David Roddy would, I'm sure, positively say that he had a bad day. You got to improve and you got to come back, because you're right, Espo. He is fighting for his NBA life right now, because what's the alternative here? If he looks this bad in the summer league, there's not going to be very many teams that are like, okay, sign me up for a trade so we can get this guy. You're gonna end up waiving him, and then you're gonna take that salary, and he's gonna end up playing probably overseas. So he's got to be much, much better. Again, the veteran point. He's a veteran. He's been in the league for a couple years. He's got to do better.
He does, but I will point out, he has played 130 games in his career. I wanted him to play better, obviously. I wanted him to look the part of a third-year player in Summer League, because you kind of have to at this point in your career, and it's worrisome that he didn't in this one game. But I do, again, just like we stressed with Dunn and Ighodaro, it's one game. If he comes out and shoots, 5 for 6 from 3 or some shit next game, we won't be talking about this. If he doesn't, we will definitely continue to talk about this. But we did ask Vince Lagaro about it after the game. Here's what he had to say.
No, I think overall Rod, did a really good job of going out there and competing. I'm sure he liked some of his shots to fall. We're, as a group, guys, we're trying to play fast. Again, they're switching. We didn't get to the multiple actions, and I think Roddy's a guy that can start maybe handling on second and third actions, and we didn't get a lot of that tonight. So hopefully, later as Summer League goes on, we get more of that, and he gets more of an opportunity to do that.
Okay, guys, say it with me. LaGarza.
Look, he got in my head.
LaGarza.
He got in my head.
I give Gerald a pass, because as that great American quote, blame it on the alcohol. It's the 2 shots that he took at the beginning of the show.
Off the Henny. No, but I do think, to LaGarza's point, they were doing one action stuff. The Warriors were switching everything, and they don't have a true point guard on this Summer League roster. So as much as they wanted Roddy to handle the ball a little bit more and do things that he normally will not do on the team, that's a tough spot to put him in, to be hey, handle the ball more against the switching defense in the first game. I think that kind of showed in his performance a little bit.
Again, I wasn't too concerned about the offensive side. It's just you got to be solid in your technique and your fundamentals, especially defensively.
Yeah.
And that you can't have those egregious errors to that point where it's so obvious to the entire gym that you were the one that made a mistake. Also, every single time it happened, he did that. It was bro, yeah, we know. You got to be better than that. So, again, not freaking out after one game, but defensively, you got to be much, much short up.
I don't know. I understand, that he's only played 150 games in the NBA, or 130. You go look at it, though, and you go, most of these guys out here will never play 13.
No, that's
NBA.
fair. It's a very fair point.
And it's one thing if you looked at it and you went, okay, talent-wise, I can tell that this is a third-year NBA veteran. He had a bad night shooting.
Ish Wainwright last year.
Yeah, okay.
Perfect example.
PJ Tucker, when he used to come out here, he wasn't always stuffing the stat sheet, but you went, okay, yeah, that's an NBA guy out here working on something specific. I didn't feel that way with Roddy last night, and I hate to pile on the guy, but the thing is, and the reports were that he chose to come out here, not that they forced him to, whether you believe it or not. But he's got a new coaching staff that he's playing for. He has to prove something to them. There's nothing guaranteed here. Right now, after game one, he bet on himself, and he didn't make the best bet right now.
If you didn't know anything about the Suns, and you were just a casual observer, and you're like, one of these guys is actually an NBA player, you would have never known which one it was. You probably would have said it was either Ryan Dunn or Oso, to be honest with you.
Or Michael DeVoe.
Or Michael DeVoe.
Right. But yeah, it was tough. It's tough asking a guy questions after a performance like that. But this is what David Roddy had to say about how he's approaching Summer League.
Yeah, I look at it as another opportunity to grow in my leadership, grow in my game as a whole. And, again, just try to piece these guys together, get these rooks along. Again, we have a very talented team, so we just got to, bring them up to speed as fast as possible and, make a run.
I know people are going to focus on how he actually performed. Ryan Dunn and Oso and Vince LaGarza have all pinpointed him as being good for the rookies in terms of helping them keep their heads on straight, just walking them through this process. So I know that we want David Roddy to play better. If he doesn't, people are going to be clamoring for him to get cut so they can sign someone else. I totally understand that, and I think that's fair. But I do want to point out before we move on, as much as he did not play well in this game, the two rookies that we are clamoring for to continue to improve have both pinpointed him as this guy has really helped me out. And I do think there is something to that leadership, even if it's coming from a guy that maybe might not even be on the roster or might not be what we were hoping he'd be.
I'm not going to beat him up. It's one game. To Saul's point, if you didn't follow basketball and you didn't know who the Suns were,
right? And
I said, tell me the guy who's an NBA player that's on the roster, who's got a guaranteed contract. I think you could have named 3, 4, 5 people before you got to Roddy. Yeah. Is that alarming? Yes. It's one game. Is it alarming? Yeah, he shot 28%, 4 for 14. But again, it's summer league. It's a weird stage. It's a weird environment. There's a lot of things going on. He's got some time. He's got to put some work in. He's got to end this summer league the right way.
When you go to watch AAU or college players, and a player stands out, it's not necessarily because of they're doing all these amazing things on the court. It's just they feel like they're above everybody else, in terms of their approach. Their presence out there, you know what I'm saying, that. I never got that feeling last night. That's the concern I have. When I saw Ish last year in Summer League, it felt like he was in control of himself. He wasn't trying to do anything more than he was supposed to be doing. He was out there to work on his stuff, improve a point that he could be on this team. And with David Roddy, I felt like he was playing too fast for himself way too many times. Yeah. And so hopefully, listen, it's not out of the realm of possibility that he was nervous as well, because he knows what's on the line.
Oh, yeah.
And so maybe next game we'll see him slow things down and calm down a little bit.
Can I just piggyback on that?
Yeah.
I want to see David Roddy simplify things next game. And when I mean simplify, just go out there and keep it simple, do the easy things. I think he played a little too fast for what we're normally used to David Roddy. I don't know that they did him any favors.
They're asking him to play point guard.
That's what I mean.
He's going to get sped up.
Right. So I don't know that exactly my point.
Let Oso play the point and let David focus on the other things.
Yeah, I don't know that they did him any favors. As soon as I seen him come out and he's playing the point, I naturally knew. I'm like, okay, either Roddy is going to show me something I didn't know about him, or he's probably going to have a shit game. Because they didn't put him in a great position. So now you got hindsight now. Let's see what the next game looks like. I'm rooting for the kid. He's still very young, 130 games in the NBA.
Right.
He's got work to do. That's why he's here.
We're gonna take a break.
But real quick, but the problem with David Roddy is like, what position is he?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He's got the size of a shooting guard, game of a power forward, and he should probably be playing the 3 to bridge the gap.
Exactly. And when you have a player like that, and you can't really say, like, okay, I know I could do this with him, it makes it very difficult to keep him on a roster when you have other guys that have better skill sets or better attributes in certain areas than he does.
Yeah.
So what does he bring to the table? That's my question for David Roddy. What do you bring to the table for this team? Right now, even before we got to Summer League, I was listening, I don't really know what he brings.
Yeah, if it's Summer League leadership, that's not what you need.
No.
I mean, if that's the one thing he brings. We're going to take a break, but on the other side, we're going to tell you about how we got that good bud last night here in Vegas. So, you know what? There's a lot of things that are ordinary, but one thing that isn't ever is our friends over at Bet365. Whatever the sport, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary with them, in part because they have the early payoff. This is unbelievable. I love this because, you know, it gives you a chance, even if you might catch a bad beat, that you could still win your bet. Because in the NBA, if you bet on a team to win and they go up by 20 points, you automatically cash in. Doesn't matter if they pull a Kings from last year and blow a 22-point lead in the final 8 minutes of the Phoenix Suns, and you put that money on the Kings, you're going to win automatically. So, and if it's part of a parlay, you're going to win that leg of the bet. They do it for the NFL, the NHL, MLB, and the NBA. I love it there, but that's not it. Not all, though. Right now, new customers can choose between 2 offers when they open an account at Bet365 by using the promo code PHNX365 to sign up. Then you deposit $10, and you're going to get to choose between the bet and get offer, which I took, where you place a $5 bet or more, and you're going to get $150 in bonus bets instantly, or your first bet safety net offer by placing a bet up to 100,000. That'd be nice. Up to 1,000. And if your qualifying bet loses, you receive a match refund in bonus bets. So head over to the App Store on whatever phone you use. Download the Bet365 app right now and use the promo code PHNX365 when you sign up. Choose your offer and find out why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 and over and physically located in Arizona. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP or text NEXT-STEP to 53342 or visit problemgambling.az.gov. And like we've been talking about, we're hiring here at PHNX. The ALLCITY family is growing. There's jobs galore that we're offering, and you can help. You get a job, and you get not really. But you can find the best jobs and the best candidates if you're hiring for jobs over at Indeed. They're driven by the search for better, and when it comes to hiring, the best way to search for a candidate isn't to search at all. So don't search. Match with Indeed, and right now there's 350 million global visitors to their site a month. I mean, that's insane. And those people are looking for jobs, and many of them have the skill sets that you're looking for as a hiring person. So I highly recommend to head over there right now, and all our viewers and listeners of the show are going to get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your job more visibility. Head to Indeed.com/AllCity. Again, just go to Indeed.com/AllCity right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/AllCity, because apparently if you say it 3 times, nobody forgets it. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? You need Indeed. All right, guys, let's wrap this up. We got a chance to hear from Mike Budenholzer yesterday at halftime of the game, and I wanted to share a particular clip here where he's talking about his thoughts on the roster overall, not Summer League, the team in general.
Yeah, no, we're very excited about the team and our roster. You know, it's the same as when we talked whatever that was on my press conference. So we've got a lot of talent, figuring out how to get them to play, at a high level on both ends of the court. I'm very excited about it.
I don't know. I always love these kind of questions, because what's the coach going to say? No, I think they did a shit job this offseason. We didn't get the guys I was hoping for.
I mean, of course he's going to say that, but you can parse little things. Like if he were to say, yeah, we've got some shooting things to work on or something like that, then you're
not happy.
And we are still concerned about some of the bench shooting for sure. But no, he had a lot of positive things to say about Monte Morris, about the rookies. We actually posted that full interview with Mike Budenholzer on our YouTube YouTube channel, so go make sure to check that out. We have a ton of interviews that are going to be posted over the next few days. We collectively set our single-day record for interviews yesterday. We were way over the over of 9.5, so make sure you check those out as we schedule those out.
The mustache behind the Mac was fantastic with the camera. Jared was good with the mic, and I just kind of hung around. So.
Yeah, I mean, hey, we walked around the concourse 89,000 times and didn't find a single person that we wanted to talk to, so that's
You got
cool.
EJ. You got EJ.
I get EJ anytime I want. So
EJ was in rare form, though. Let's be honest.
He was another level.
He was cantankerous, and then then he yelled at me down in the tunnel, and I flipped him off. So
then he yelled at some poor old lady. Oh man.
There's on a slightly more serious note. Coach Budenholzer was asked about Kevin Durant and the calf injury that's going on with Team USA. Didn't seem so concerned. He had this to say.
Our medical staff has done a great job of supporting him. USA Basketball has been great supporting him. Kevin's a veteran. He knows himself well. So, we feel confident that he's in a good place. He's being well taken care of, and, hopeful that he'll be back healthy and ready to play for USA.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's the way we've seen the reporting, everything we've heard. What Steve Kerr said. Yeah, it's minor. Why rush him back? You're playing in Abu Dhabi and in games that don't matter in this whole thing. As long as he's back, maybe 1 or 2 games before that group play in the Olympics, fine. You don't mess with it.
No, you don't mess with it. I think maybe we're a little bit scared just because of the last time he had a calf injury. It ended up the next game he played, he tore his Achilles, right? So me saying it is not going to stop it from happening if it happens.
It might cause it though.
Wait, it just happened. Come on. So obviously we want to be careful as we proceed forward, but he's going to be, because I think he learned from history, right? So that's actually a benefit for us right now, because he tried to go before and he didn't understand what could possibly happen, and then the worst thing possibly happened. I think now he's going to be like, no, I'm not coming back until I am 100% confident that I'm good to go. So I think they're doing good. I want to make one point too before we go. Coach Bud, I think what the Suns saw in Coach Bud is a guy that is going to do everything he can and has the passion for basketball, and to make sure that everything they exhaust every single resource they have to make their franchise and their team better, right? Because what I keep noticing from this franchise is everybody's all in. Everybody's working tirelessly to try and make sure that everything is shored up and they're all moving in the right direction, and they want to embrace people that have that same passion for the organization. And every time I hear Coach Bud, I feel like he's got to be that guy. And I don't know if they necessarily felt like that with Frank Vogel. He was just going to work tirelessly to make sure that we get everything right. With Coach Bud, I feel like it's going to be a little bit different.
When we heard a lot of people talk about how personal he is, but we saw it firsthand because Grayson Allen was sitting right in front of us with his wife who's pregnant. And Bud came over in the second half and spent almost a full quarter just sitting there genuinely talking. It wasn't I'm watching the game just sitting with them.
But he wasn't talking to them.
He
was talking to her.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
He walked up, dapped Grace and said, good to see you, congrats.
But it was all about his wife, right? To see how she's doing, how she's that is such a personal touch, and we were noticing that up there. We're like, look at Coach Bud right there. That's fucking awesome.
Yeah. And in the interview that we shared as well with Josh Okogie, he mentioned that he's very welcoming, he's very personable. Those are good qualities. We did say something similar about Frank Vogel, so we want to see the basketball stuff too, and we will see it. Last thing before we go on the injury update, I did get to talk to Damian Lee. Obviously, he told Cassidy Hubbarth on the broadcast that he's about 85%, should be good to go for training camp. He verified that with me as well, so that's positive news. I know people are wondering why he's still not 100%. Look up what injury he specifically had. It was not just a normal meniscus.
No, everything basically blew up.
Repair.
It came off the bone.
Right. So hopefully he's back and good to go by the time training camp, like he says.
So one thing Leo in the chat says, if the Suns lose the second game on Tuesday, is Vince Lagarza on the hot seat? Yes, Vince Lagaro will be taking over if Vince Lagarza loses that second game. That is it. Another show in the books. Tomorrow we'll be talking about the Team USA warm-up game in Abu Dhabi, as well as We catch up with Frank Kaminsky. It's Josh Okogie.
How come we didn't get invited to Abu Dhabi?
I'm not flying out there. I'm good in Vegas.
I would have loved to fly.
I would have loved to fly to Abu Dhabi.
You guys can still go. And you can go right now because we're leaving. You can follow Saul at Saul_Bookman. You can follow Flex at Flex from Jersey. You can follow Gerald at
Flex
Gerald
was
Bourget.
unusually quiet today. I think the Henny hit a little
baby.
hard.
You can follow Flex's Henny at Flex's Henny. You can follow the show at PHNX_Suns. You can follow me at Espone. Remember, there's not a game for the next 2 days, so we have to go recuperate before we go out tonight. Ahoy, hoy!
We all silly like the mayor.